Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. Bruce, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm a little fired up today, Connie.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, how can we help? What's going on? Lie down on our couch.
You work for AT&T?
I don't. I quit my job there.
Well, see, then that's one thing you can't help me with.
Sure.
You work for American Express?
Nope. I don't even do business with them anymore.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, as of tonight, I don't. I tried to.
Yeah.
But they don't want my business. So fuck American Express.
Unless they want to sponsor this program, in which case I will shield for them hard next week. No, seriously. I didn't have, I had, as you recall, once upon a time, that was my go-to card. And then
me too.
Things changed over on that side, and it just didn't feel like quite the same. And I stepped out, tried something new, and was like, yeah, I like this better. And then I got that $500 a year or whatever it is charge for the platinum card. And I was like, I don't know that I'm using this enough anymore. So I shut it down, and that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. See, here's the thing, man. It's like you're in the customer service business.
That's right.
Whatever happened somewhere along the line, there used to be, hey kids, I know a lot of you may not get this, but it used to be this old saying, customer is always right.
I've heard that.
Now, if the customer is wrong, what do? You refer to rule number one.
Right.
The customer is always right. And they just don't care. American Express and AT&T, absolute worst customer service, worse. They'll try and drag you back in. Well, what if we were to? We're not going to correct that, but we'll give you $500 if you'll spend $6,000 with us in the next 2 months.
Wait, that was a real sentence.
That was real. Huh. No, give me $500 credit if I'll spend $6,000 in the next 2 months. I said, I bet you would. And this is the best part, man. You know me, man. I'm old. I'm older. Yeah, and yes, and please caution me. I'm not wearing the sling. I'm supposed to be wearing the sling. But the doctor told me, he says, hey, man, yeah, you know what? Take it off for a couple hours. Well, I'm going to do a show. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to take that son of a bitch off. Thanks for noticing, Conrad, right off the bat. But that's okay. It's okay because I'm used to being slighted today.
I haven't had a chance.
That's the way I'm taking this show. That's the way I'm taking everything. I'm coming in hot.
Okay.
Coming in hot. Hot, baby. Boom. You burn from him. You got snow surrounding Mount Conrad. Way up on top of the hill.
Yep.
The Montana Conrad Mountain.
Wow. I kind of
forget. They got it all up in there, and they got the star pizza. They got everything surrounded by snow.
Yep.
But I'm coming in hot. It's
going to melt the snow?
You better watch out. You better watch it. You better get on the phone. You better call somebody and let them know that Mount Conrad getting ready to melt all of Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
Right on through the podcast line, if you will.
Okay.
Because I coming in hot. I ain't coming in cold. I ain't coming in lukewarm. Gonna warm up a little bit and then get hot.
All right.
I already am. AT&T. Let me tell you about AT&T. This one was classic. This fucking great, man. Simple thing. All I wanted to do was change credit card. Hey, man. Hey, this credit card expired. Got to give you the new credit card, right? You would think they would want that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If you're going to give me money? You're going to make it easy for me? You're going to call me and tell me how to get your money? Make it streamless? Hey, yeah. May I please have your personal identification number? Yeah. Bing, 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 bing. Give it to him. Sorry. Correct. Well, it's the only one I've had since the dawn of AT&T, back when they were just Ma Bell, Southwestern Bell. That's right. That's what we call her. Called her Ma Bell.
Ma Bell.
And then these damn AT&Ts come in. That's shit you not. Same woman. A computer, a telephone with an app on it that has AT&T on it. All of it automatically entered in. Same fucking code. And they all told me it was wrong. And I'm going batshit crazy, man. And I said, well, then so finally we go through all the security check of who you are, why you are, where you are, who you were, what you did, how you want to be identified, and all that good shit. And I said, so now that you know all that, can you tell me what my security code is? She goes, oh, bing, bing, bing. Is that not what I have been saying for the last 10 minutes? She says, well, you're correct, sir. That's when I started to lose my shit. You try to pay for shit. You try to give people money for services that they do that are
Yes.
necessities. And they make it cold. They just make it, and there's no reason for that. There is no reason for that, man. We should be jovial. We should be having a good time, man. If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at, right?
That's right.
Am I right?
Yes.
Can't have fun with yourself. Who can you have fun with?
Nobody.
But I guess that's bullshit too. You're not allowed to have fun with yourself. You're not allowed to have fun with your friends. You're not allowed to have fun. You're not allowed to do anything. So just do what the norm wants you to do. Yeah, we're in for a root.
Today's episode is Bruce
It's
Yells at
coming.
Clouds. So be sure.
Hey, you know what, man? You go ahead. Go ahead.
I-
Go ahead. I can laugh at
I-
myself.
Yeah. I just
Yeah,
love that I said, hey, welcome to Something to Wrestle With. Here we go.
That's not what you said.
All right. Something like that.
Bruce laughs at clouds. Bruce yells at clouds.
Oh, no. I meant the first time when you got wound up. But now I'm like, I don't even know what happened. I just welcomed people to the show and I got a rant about AT&T and Amex and me not noticing your shoulder, even though we talked about your shoulder 2 hours ago on the telephone.
Yeah, but the rest of the people over here on the planet phone, pad, okay, those on YouTube, they can see. They can see, hey, Bruce, he's not moving it around a lot because he can't. Okay. But it doesn't have some big black ugly ass thing slinging from it.
This is the Batista episode, and you said that just so you know.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Y'all go to the lowest common denominator.
Who is y'all?
Y'all know who y'all is.
The y'all is
Y'all know who y'all is.
the y'all.
Here, you want one of these? Yeah, here's an American Express card. Yeah.
So are you finished with them now?
Done.
Throw it in the trash.
Done.
Not don't leave home without
I
it.
was going,
Don't leave with it.
It's the hard platinum, so I was gonna shred it. Fuck up my shredder.
It's like a half-ass metal. It's not like a real metal.
It's not real metal.
No.
But I also look, the shredder comes in handy. Just saying.
As you take a sip of your red, white, and blue prime. The shredder comes in handy, boys and girls, because
This is the hydration drink. Very good.
the shredder comes in handy because, as you've reminded us many times here on the show, plans change, Conrad.
They do.
So old plan A sometimes goes through the shredder there.
Yes, and I can get like 700 pages of shit shredded in a much smaller space than I can stacked up in the corner over there with goddamn Duke the Dumpster Drosy and fucking Mantar program for 42 weeks.
So listen, we're going to talk about Batista. We're going to pick up our conversation I think we did last October, and sort of finish your time with Batista here on the program, except for the more modern run. But outside of that, we're going to cover it. And before we do that,
Billy damn near gave your grandfather a fucking heart attack. Gave him a panic attack.
did he?
My very first day back on the job this time. Even though I'm not supposed to talk about that. Yeah, when Batista grabbed him and pulled him out of the dressing room. Yeah.
Oh,
Poor
yeah.
old Rick.
Did he do
70th
another fake heart
birthday.
attack? I've tried to talk him out of those fake heart attacks.
Yeah, no, that wasn't. It was a. You gotta take care of old Pawpaw.
Did you see him
Is it Pooh-Paw, Pawpaw?
pop, pop?
Pop, pop. Okay, pop, 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 pop.
Pop was head to head with Monday Night Raw on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. I don't guess you saw Pop there representing
Sure
the Bucs,
did.
did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see him.
Well, we all saw Monday Night Raw. It seems like my new favorite segment. I know we don't talk about current stuff, but is Ron Killings a national treasure or what? I just can't get enough of that shit, man. It's great stuff. Every segment still gets me. I know it's coming and it still gets me.
My bad.
Okay. Anything else
I wasn't even there.
besides wait, when are you gonna can we talk about that? When are you allowed to travel again? Are you gonna be at the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, oh, hell yeah. They
You
won't
know,
be able to keep me away.
I'm gonna be down there
Where is it?
in Tampa. We should get together and have a Sammy before you have to go to work.
Yeah,
Probably not. Probably gonna blow me off.
exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
You know.
Well, listen, I just thought, you're in town, I'm in town. How often does that happen? We know Dave Silva won't be there because if you and I are getting together,
Oh shit, I'm sure.
no chance.
Yeah.
So
There's a pretty good chance that'll never happen again.
what, you inviting Silva somewhere?
That's for damn sure.
Are you saying, oh, me and you are never going to eat lunch again? That's the move.
No, not me and you. I like eating with you.
It's Silva. That's the issue.
We like to eat. You and I like to eat.
Can you pull that zipper down a little lower?
No, I can't. That's so. I honestly was just looking, going, how far does this thing go? This was a Christmas gift from somebody. It's very nice, isn't it?
It's very nice. It fits you nice. It's a nice fit.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about and get off your chest today?
You know what? I'm gonna find some fucking shit. Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. I'll find a way to weave it in.
You know. Well, our topic.
We're only they.
Okay, I got you. I understand. Picking up where we left off on Batista. So if you haven't already listened to that one, go check it out in the archives. It's something to wrestle.com.
That is the bigger question, no?
Much better question.
Yeah.
Glad you said. We're going to pick up where we left off. We were talking about Dave, who got himself injured wrestling with Mark Henry. And unfortunately, he had to forfeit the world title. And he's going to come out at WrestleMania 22 and interrupt a Randy Orton interview and put SmackDown on notice that he's going to have that title by WrestleMania 23. And before Batista could make his return to the ring after this injury, something else kind of controversial happens. There's the now, maybe we'll call it infamous dust up with Booker T. They were filming a SummerSlam commercial. I'm going to give you the rundown of what Dave Meltzer wrote about it in the Observer, and then I want to hear from you what really happened. Here's a more detailed eyewitness account of what supposedly happened on the May 15th during the filming of the SummerSlam commercial between Booker T and Batista. There was apparently an underlying issue between the two, which neither would talk about. There's been speculation this stems from problems Melina had with Charmel on the Australian tour, which led to the guys giving up their final night in Australia for Wrestler's Court to sentence Melina for her behavior. Although Booker has told friends it was Batista's attitude that caused it, as he perceived and still does that Batista feels like he's superior to the rest of the guys and perceives the only people he respects are top guys like Triple H and Ric Flair. So let's just take a time out right there. We know in real life, cooler heads have prevailed. These are evolved human beings. This is probably way water under the bridge. So we're not trying to drudge up hard feelings. But I guess as the story goes, Batista was dating Melina and obviously Booker is married to Charmel and maybe they didn't get along. Had you heard that before, or what from the version of events you heard led to this issue, if you will?
You know, I have no idea who the hell Batista or Melina was dating,
Right.
and could care less. Actually, I couldn't.
That's right.
Less.
Look at you. I'm glad you got that.
I was going to say, thank you. I couldn't care less because if I could care less, then I would care less.
Yes.
But I could not care less who was dating who was doing what to who, or anything else. Is that all the Dave's report? Because I got a lot to say about it.
As Booker said,
I'd love to hear from the guy who wasn't there, hearing from somebody who says that they were, that, whatever. Was that his whole report?
No. As said by Booker on the WWE website, it did have to do with his belief that Batista didn't respect the history of the business, but the belief is there was something personal that had gone down, including Booker's claim that Batista said things directly to him that he took as being told he was nothing but a jobber. And in the course of the argument, Batista told Booker that if he didn't like it, they could settle it and he could take him out at any time. Batista hadn't been around much in months since he had been rehabbing his surgically repaired triceps and his torn lat. Booker felt that Batista had been bragging about what a big draw he was, while the rest of the guys didn't like it because the SmackDown guys felt they weren't earning any more money last year than they did the day before. And when Batista came to the commercial shoot, it was said that he only went up to certain guys to shake their hand, which were the top guys and Fit Finlay. For better or worse, given locker room etiquette, the guys he didn't come to who went to him, some of them felt that was a slight, which probably would have meant nothing in the long run, except things quickly compounded. Anyway, the major rule of thumb, if you're in a WWE locker room, walk up to every person there and introduce yourself the first time and every other time and then shake everyone's hand. Apparently Booker was one of those and felt Batista was being a big shot and had no respect for the business and cut a promo on him. The only thing we were told directly is that the two argued, and when Batista told Booker he could take him out at any time, Booker responded by saying, "Why not try right now and step into an empty room, close the door behind us and go at it?" There was a lot of underlying negative feelings when he came over. Things went back and forth because Batista's first program was with JBL and Batista confided in Eddie Guerrero. He felt JBL was sandbagging in their program that didn't click. During the argument back and forth, which Booker was getting the better of, Batista apparently insinuated he was a draw and pointed to the SmackDown ratings going into the toilet since he left. And there were people who tried to talk Batista out of it, not just because either or both could get hurt needlessly, and both are old enough where they should know better and not be fighting. Plus, with Batista, given his triceps injury after 3 operations, he was risking his career over something stupid. By that point, he appeared to have felt that he had to save face because everyone was watching. And at that time, before they ended up fighting, when they were just arguing, it was said Batista should have let it go, but wouldn't, which is one of the reasons he was the one viewed most negatively. Mysterio was said to be the last person Batista talked with before the two left the room and them alone, and he tried to talk Batista out of it. And the first fight saw the two actually in a room. Everyone left and they shut the door. Booker's version was that he put his hand on the doorknob to close it and got sucker punched. Booker came back and was doing some real damage. Some people heard the sound of fists meeting flesh, and after a very short period of time, maybe 30 seconds, the door was opened and people saw Booker on top pounding Batista, and the wrestlers broke it up. Batista was screaming to let it continue, so they did, and Booker was again getting the better of it. Batista in the second round grabbed Booker's braids and tried to throw knees from the clinch like you'd see in a Muay Thai style fight. Well, aside from the fact that you can't pull someone's hair, but you can drive their head down and throw knees up. But the best they could do was hit Booker's elbow. So Booker was taunting him, saying, "Is that all you got? You're hitting my elbows." One version is Charmel kicked Batista low and he went down, which may have been a factor in the later Melina Charmel incident when it was pulled apart by Angle, JBL Finley, and others. It was said that when Batista got a good punch in, described as a sucker punch, which was the punch that swelled Booker's eye. After that, it was said Booker was very furious and vowing that sometime in some place he'd get him in the back, saying, "I'm an OG," while Batista claimed Booker was a cancer to the locker room. But Booker said in front of anyone that if anyone thinks he's a bad influence in the locker room, to say it, and nobody would. Batista was apparently surprised that none of the wrestlers agreed with him. The general feeling is Booker's a laid back guy and doesn't bother anyone and has no reputation for starting trouble. Booker looked at Lashley in particular and asked him, and Lashley said to Booker he'd always helped him out and given him good advice. Charmel also cut a promo on Batista somewhere in there, and the general feeling, coming from several different sources, was that Batista got what he deserved. Whew! Big story. A lot of words from someone who wasn't there. Were you there? And even if you weren't, what did you hear happened that's different from Dave Meltzer's account?
Oh, to be very clear, I was not there.
Okay.
Thank God I wasn't. You know, it's funny. I'm trying to think. Did we do it on this show? Or I did it with someone else where they asked me that silly question about a safe work environment.
Okay.
Okay. And I made the comment, and I know people thought I was directing it one way, when in truth, I was simply stating a truth that in going on 50 years, well, not fuck, now I'm at 50 years in this business. Even as a small child, 10 years old, being around the business,
Right.
I have never in any way, shape, or form been afraid in my workplace ever for any reason. And
what about when Fantasio came back and set you on fire? Or
when who set me on fire?
Some magician tried to set you on fire in Gorilla, and then
I just want to kill him.
Then Brock Lesnar crushed your face with a door.
I wasn't scared when Brock crushed my face. I didn't know it was coming. If I'd known it was coming, I probably would have been.
Well, that's fair. Okay, continue.
I didn't know that was coming. Okay.
Got
it. The fact of the matter is this. This business is a unique business unlike any other. It's kind of very cavemanish. It is. It's primitive in nature. The sport in which we participate, it's sports entertainment, involves a lot of physicality, and it involves a lot of room for error. It involves an awful lot of opportunity to possibly hit someone harder than maybe you would have wanted to.
Yes.
Just the sheer nature of the business itself is physical, it hurts, and it's brutal. And to an alpha male, okay, they're the big dogs, man. They're the guys that want to prove a lot of times that, you know what? Shit wants to get real in here. I'm happy to prove at any time just how real I am. And that goes for a lot of guys. It goes for guys that were in the locker rooms in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Not so much the 80s, but no. The 80s, it goes on for the history of time. There are always going to be those that are the alpha males. There's always going to be that one or two guys that feel, man, I rule the roost. I'm the baddest badass here. And sometimes the quietest of those cavemen, if you will, are usually the baddest because they don't have to tell you how bad.
That's right.
And I'm handicapped here in the way in that Booker T is one of my very best friends.
Absolutely.
Dave Batista, so my very good friend, and I love them both dearly. Wish it wouldn't have happened. Why it happened, they know, and only they know. Nobody, anybody else is going to put their spin on it or what they think. This is what they were really trying to say, or this is why this happened, or what have you.
Right.
Everybody's going to want to put their own spin on it. Dave Batista and Booker T are the only two people that know why they fought. As you get into it, they went outside, heard eyewitness accounts of what happened outside. I've spoken to both Dave and Booker, who both now pretty much tell the same story. And they also kind of brush it off to, hey man, that was then, this is now.
That's right.
I'm happy for the other. And they're both, Booker will say, Dave, man, I'm so proud of him and everything he's done. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And Dave say, you know what? I'm so happy for Booker. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So whatever the bullshit that was probably, manifested by more than one or two things, isolated things, all manifested. It was like a pimple coming, to a head ready to explode. And it exploded that day at that shoot. Um, unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional in both parts.
Yeah.
So nobody gets a buy on that one. And I think that we tend to, when you don't live in that world and you hear about things like that, you hear about, oh my God, so got a fight. He punched him right in the ear. Fuck.
That's right. They get punched in the ear in the ring every night.
Yeah, but it's if you your life is analytics and you're an analytic guy and you sit at a desk and you do analytics all day long about something that you love or not love, it's just a job.
Right.
And then someone right next to you punches somebody in the face. That's shocking.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You don't see it. You don't see it all the time. You really don't. Is as much as we talk about, oh my God, there was this one time that they had this fight. There really weren't that many, shoot fights
Yeah.
of guys getting upset and going out and beating the shit out of each other and having to be pulled off of each other. I've seen a handful
In
in
50
50
years.
years.
Yeah.
So, to that, I think it kind of became much ado about nothing. Um, where the rub with me is it was unprofessional.
That's
It was
right.
offside. It wasn't in our house. It was done. It was actually done in someone else's house. Um, but didn't happen in our house, and that's unprofessional. So if Dave or Book would both be sitting here, I'd say it to both of them, and then Booker would probably punch me in the face, and David would kick me, and I'd go, "Nah, okay." Still that was unprofessional because now you're at my house. Um, but so there were there always has been, and there always will be guys that don't like each other in this business.
Yes.
You don't have to like someone to work with someone. And the thing about it is this business in itself is a work. We go out and we tell stories every night in which I tell a story where Conrad, I hate your guts, and here's why. And you in return talk about the admiration that you have for me and how great I am, and that I really should hate your guts. And these are just stories that we tell, and we go out and we have a match or whatever. And we come back and we hug each other and say, "Thank you, man. Love you. That was great."
Right.
So sometimes, though, if one night I accidentally pop you in the nose
Right.
and you come back and go, "What the fuck was that?" And I go, "God damn, man, your nose should have been out of the way." Yeah, okay, well, bam. Maybe yours should have too. I deserve that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I deserve it. And it's just people go, "Oh, fighting in the workplace is not right." No, it's not. It's not. You don't want people fighting in your mortgage company.
No.
You don't want somebody down here talking about, "Hey, man, what's the best rate I can get on my 15-year fixed loan here?" And all of a sudden, goddamn,
Wham!
comes, yeah,
Yeah.
come flying out through the window. Don't mind them.
That's less than ideal.
It is less than ideal. But when you are in an environment in which
That's kind of your job. Gonna
it's kind of
happen.
your job, and sometimes you just never know. Sometimes you just never know. Okay, are they shooting something over here or what? That's always my favorite when people. That's something I'm going, "Oh, that's just shooting something. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's crazy.
when the lines are blurred, I mean, I think that's even part of the story of terrible comparison, but the Brody situation in Puerto Rico, some of the local authorities thought, well, this is a wrestling story.
Yeah,
Um,
and terrible. And let the poor man bleed out because they thought, it's wrestling. It's not real.
I I also wonder how much, we don't know what role the ladies played in this or didn't play, but obviously when you get that component added in here, it just intensifies. And I also just want to add some context that both of these guys today are paying it forward and doing a ton of charity work. And this is not in the content of their normal character, but man, when you got this kind of testosterone and this kind of stress and travel and pressure and there's money involved, things happen, things bubble over. And I mean, this happens in professional
Yeah,
sports, like, the NFL all the time where guys just for whatever reason have a bad day and don't get along and it bubbles over, but then you fucking get over it and you move past it. Right.
exactly. I always get a kick out of is in a football game when fight breaks out. And there was always one, at least one, man. There was a guy that the very first thing he did was take his helmet off.
Yes. Always.
Now, when I played football, right back in my day when I played football and we were district champions, we were okay. But we had a reputation, horrible reputation. We were good. We were good. But when we won, we were great winners. But when we lost, we fought.
Not good.
Horrible reputation.
Yes.
And that was you could always count and look around because you knew, man, okay, oh well shit, we're not scoring in here. Buckle up. Buckle up because we're coming off the bench swinging. Doesn't matter who's in the way. We're hitting somebody, even if it's our own teammate or our own coaches. We're hitting somebody.
We're going to win something. God damn
We're
it.
gonna win something. All right. My God. But it used to crack me up. He'd take the helmet, start swinging.
Yes.
What the fuck is that gonna do, man?
Right.
Come on. And so when people talk about just the gall of holy cow, oh my god, they got Eddie and Kurt, the double leg and all stuff, and coming back and all Eddie was just so pissed off at himself that Eddie tried to double leg an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, that's not advisable.
Not the fact that they got in a fight, that it escalated, and blah 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 blah. Not that. Stupid, stupid, stupid. You know that he tried to double leg a Olympic gold medal.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, it's a physical sport, and I just think that sometimes it bubbles over. And I made this speech before about going to the principal and explaining to the principal, which I'm sure we'll get a lot of hate tweets for this. Is that sometimes I think that what's wrong with America today is not enough people are being punched in the face. 98, no, 99.5% of the people online that tweet your little shit.
Oh God, come on now.
No, you cut bullshit. 99.5% of them that tweet their shit online would never walk up to that person and say that to their face.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
Because they'd get punched in the face. And they should. And even writing it down, what they should do is really actually have an honest to God checklist of where they actually do live and work. If you got any balls.
Come on now. You're not advocating people.
Then put your address. Hey man, put your address now where you work. Let's go meet somewhere. Say it to my face. Not me, because I got to hurt.
I was just say, not today. That would not be good. I know you're a 19-time karate black belt Hall of Famer.
Everybody's got balls back here behind the keyboard.
Yes.
Hang on, my mom got home with my Oxy 10. The fuck? I've got to go to band practice now. Play the flute.
Well, you're in a good mood today.
Yeah, I'm in a.
So, what was the reaction internally? I know anytime something like this happens, man, it becomes telephone, telegram, telewrestler, because guys in this industry, a lot of times they like to
embellish and talk and bullshit.
Yes,
like old ladies.
Yeah, a little gossip never hurt nobody.
Oh my God! If what they call the party line,
yes,
back in the day. Mm-hmm. Holy shit, man! They had a party line. That's everybody would be on it. Hear what happened. And every story would be different. That's the other thing I love. They're all different. But it was pretty quick, and got both guys on the phone. Told them how disappointed that everybody was in them. Both guys are better than that.
Sure.
And everybody got their due punishments and slap on the wrists, and don't let it happen again. You're better than that. And they are better than that. You shouldn't have done it. It just doesn't belong. Not in the workplace, but if somebody kicks you in the teeth, knocks your top row of your teeth out and everything, and you're pissed off at the time, you come up swinging. I understand that. Again, not saying that's right either. Shit happens. Mistakes happen. You think so let's go back to Brock for a minute. So you think Brock kicks a wall in my face, breaks my orbital, breaks my nose in 3 different places, and completely caves in the left side of my face, and I'm going to come back swinging at Brock?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, even if I knew how hurt I was at the time, like I would have found the fastest exit I could have. I'd be like, Ro, did I do something wrong? I'm sorry, Mr. Master, I swear. God, yeah, please.
Mark Merrow tells a fabulous story about when he found out that the reason Rena was no longer answering the phone is because she had taken up with Brock Lesnar. He went from angry To learning about the power of forgiveness
Well,
very quickly.
I would too. I
Yeah.
would too. Brock's my friend. You
Yes.
know, here, Brock was my friend. Brock had no idea, what that kick had done and the damage it had done. Felt very bad about it. But again, shit happens. You're backstage, man. Shit happens. That's why I hate, people being backstage on tour and walking around. Oh, hey, look, there's some wrestlers over there. And then all of a sudden, a flying door comes at you or wall and you're being sued. Craziness.
Do you think, with the benefit of hindsight, that some of the issue may have been Batista's um, immaturity in the business at that point?
I think that a lot of it probably had to do with, yes, immaturity, naivete, and being placed in a spot that maybe he wasn't completely ready
There
for,
you go.
but trying to be what he thought that spot should be.
Well said.
And the thing about it is that if you get to know Dave, you'll find this guy that is just so mellow, and so cool, and he's cool handled Luke. Can he get pissed off? Sure, he can. Would you want to get him pissed off? I would probably say no. And at the same time, though, it's he's to me, he's always been nothing but a gentleman and nothing but a pro. Look, we all have our moments. Not me, you know. You know.
I do know. And I know that it's business as usual. So Batista's going to make his return to TV on the July 7th episode of SmackDown. He'd been out for about 6 months. And now that he's back, he's calling out Mark Henry. Were there hurt feelings between Mark Henry and Batista about the injury that did sideline Batista?
I don't know. I think that anytime, if it's a honest mistake and things happen in the ring, you are putting your life, you're putting your body, but you really are. You're putting your life in someone else's hands. So you have to trust that person. And you have to be able to believe and hope that, okay, I'm giving you my body now. Please take care of it. And again, mistakes happen and things do happen. There immediately, I'm sure there was animosity. Like, I was like, I'm pissed off. I'm not working. And my program I had has been put on the sideline because of this stupid mistake. So you get over it. You get over it and you move on and you be a professional and do what it is that you need to do. It's like you see someone after a long time, and I actually had this happen recently. I saw someone hadn't seen in a long time, and it was on the phone, and they, were apologizing to me about things that they had either said or done many years ago. And I started to laugh, and I didn't mean to laugh in their face or anything, but it was, I don't know what you're talking about. And I have moved on so far from that point in my life. And by the way, I'm sure I was an asshole too. I'm positive of it.
What?
So, don't apologize to me, man. Move on and move up and take care of yourself.
That's right.
But I don't think that people really, they do that. Don't hold on to grudges. Life's too short.
Well said, Brucey. Look at you. You're turning it around.
Fuck Jerry Jarrett.
Wait a minute. He's no longer.
But now, okay, but here's the difference. People will then say, Oh yeah. Well, what about Dave Meltzer? Well, Dave Meltzer is a constant gnat and a constant leech on society
Come
and
on.
on this business. So to him, no, he still is that just leech, horrible piece of garbage.
Saturday night's main event 33 went down on July 15th. We get Batista teaming with Lashley and Mysterio to take on Finley, then World Heavyweight Champion King Booker and Mark Henry in a 6-man tag. And in a turnabout, Henry actually gets injured in this match. So the feud between Mark Henry and Batista gets delayed again. This whole thing seems like it's snake bit. We tried it before and Batista gets hurt. Now our second show with Batista back. Mark Henry's hurt. Can't win for losing with this thing. Failure to
God
launch.
gives back in mysterious ways, doesn't he?
So Batista's going to transition over to Mr. Kennedy, which never really goes anywhere. Batista's going to be DQ'd and counted out. And somehow Batista winds up challenging Big Show for the ECW title from the Hammerstein Ballroom. Yeah, Batista on an ECW show against Big Show for the ECW world title. That's not a fever dream. That actually happened. One of the more infamous moments in the short ECW run they had here in the WWE is when the crowd just rips these two apart. You know, there is nothing about the old school original ECW and these two guys. Like, these are WWE guys at this point, not ECW guys. Whoever booked this had to know crowd's going to eat them alive. How did Batista take that, do you think?
I don't think Batista cared. And I think one of the greatest things that happened during that time when we were doing the pay-per-views, the ECW pay-per-views, was I never had to do them.
That was the best part.
That was the absolute best part of the ECW pay-per-views. I never did one, not one. So I loved them. God, shit, I had another one. No, never did a one. Look, Rob Van Dam had it.
Right.
Hey, what if? And had this, one night stand, ECW, one night stand. Do you get the key word in that
One
title? One night stand. That I thought it'd be cool. And you know what? It was cool. I'll give the devil his due. It's like, all right, man. That's man. Say what you want to, but that was a nice moment. That was a nice give back to that audience, and had some good storylines in it, and gave people an opportunity to revisit the past. The way that no matter how you did it, there they could look at things through their eyes and through the eyes of ECW in the 90s. So, but it was one night stand. Anything beyond one night stand becomes it wasn't ECW, and the WWE ECW product was not something that anybody was clamoring for.
Nope. So eventually we know Batista's going to get a shot at King Buckeye at SummerSlam. And I think everyone expected Batista to regain the title here. It doesn't happen. Booker gets dequalified.
Dequalified?
Dequalified.
Is that like unqualified?
It's like disqualified, except I didn't think I should use the word diss with these two. They were done dissing each other.
Done this and they were D'ing.
That's right.
All right.
Talk to me about, I mean, do you think, because when I'm just taking a look at this, it feels like Batista's got to be a little frustrated with his lot in life when he comes back. Like, he was the champ, he gets injured, he comes back. We're going to put you with Mark Henry. Oh, he's hurt. Okay. Now we're going to put you with Mr. Kennedy. That's not really working. We'll slide you in here with Big Show at the ECW pay-per-view. Okay, that was a bad idea. We're going to put you with Booker. And everybody online was hyped to see this because some of those stories had leaked about what happened in May, and he doesn't win the title here. What's up
Mhm.
with that?
Oh, we were waiting to fuck him worse. We
Is
were just waiting because we look. You always keep something in the back pocket, kid. Oh yeah, you just
it
wait.
eventually does happen at Survivor Series. Batista's going to regain the title over King Booker. I'm curious though, you've told us before when we talked about real life situations, whether it was Matt Hardy and Edge or whoever, that you'd get everybody in a room and they'd have a conversation about being able to work together. By the time SummerSlam rolls around, and certainly by the time Survivor Series rolls around, is this all just water under the bridge with these guys?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say within a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batista takes on Kennedy at the Royal Rumble in January of the next year, and he gets the win. So he retains the title. But the dead man, The Undertaker, wins the Royal Rumble. And of course,
Ruh-roh.
we know what that means. Undertaker has had a lot of fun messing with you over the years about some of the times that you maybe put him with a less than ideal WrestleMania opponent. And occasionally he's been able to pick his own, like when he wanted to work with Ric Flair at 18. Where was he on working with Batista at WrestleMania?
I think Undertaker liked Batista, and I think that they actually had good chemistry. Going back, another little thing, Bradshaw sandbagging Batista.
Oh
Good
yeah.
God, I thought that was another one or two guys that I thought had good chemistry. It was two raw bone big bastards that beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, they did.
But Undertaker and Batista, again, man, that's intriguing as hell. It's interesting. And you've got two big guys that want to go at it, and you have that feeling of shit, man. This is different. This is different because these were the two big dogs.
Let's talk a little bit about WrestleMania 23. It goes down on April 1st. Batista's going to lose the World Heavyweight Championship to The Undertaker. And it's long been said that these two guys were not happy because they felt like they were the main event. They deserved to go on last. Instead, that honor would go to John Cena and Shawn Michaels. Do you remember this being a big debate, a big discussion, those guys being upset about it? And do you think they went out there with something to prove in that regard?
I would hope that anybody placed in any position on a card at WrestleMania would go out with something to prove.
Yeah.
And placement on a card, I think, has been made to be more than it is but the people that have done that, for the most part, are the Dave Meltzers of the world. By saying, oh, he went on this time, this was a punishment. Or oh, he went on this time because of this. Not having a clue why. Sometimes we want a hot start to open up a pay-per-view, so we're going to put on a hot match. We've put main events on first on a show that were considered main events. The last match is not always the main event. And that's where the misconception comes in. And them looking at it, I think that everybody on that show, everybody on any show should want to be perceived as a main event match. Well, you know how you do that? You go out and you perform like a main event performer. Then you'll be the main event.
Ta-da.
If you're the one match that 8-year-old Johnny is talking about when he's leaving the arena, you were his main event. And that's the secret to the business. It's not about are you going to tell me that WrestleMania 25 that the main event of Randy and Triple H was better and deserved to be in that spot more so than Shawn and Taker? I don't think it did. But yet people will still say, "Oh, it was the main event." It was put there for a reason. It was put there. Turning this down somehow, it got turned up. Um, it's perception. It's how the show flows. It's when you're telling stories. Sometimes you need to bring them up. Sometimes you need to bring them down. It just
As
it
a
is what it
reminder,
is.
the match that
But
everybody
no,
was
there was no. Oh my God, I've got to be last match.
WrestleMania 23 is not only known for John Cena and Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker and Batista, it's also known for Lashley and Umaga with a billionaire in each corner.
Mhm.
Donald Trump and Vince McMahon, special guest referee, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's a loaded up show. The Observer, Dave Meltzer.
Shouldn't that match have gone on last then?
I mean, you got to think that was probably the biggest draw. But Undertaker and Batista go 15 minutes and 47 seconds. Dave gave it 4 stars. Cena and Michaels closed the show with 28 minutes and 22 seconds, and it got 4 stars. But the voters over on cagematch.net, they did prefer the Batista Undertaker match.
Oh my God. Okay.
All 276 of them.
Well,
What do you think was the better match on the show that night? I mean, obviously, what everybody was talking about at the water cooler was Trump and McMahon. But as far as in-ring action, I mean, it's hard to not go with Shawn at a WrestleMania. But man, Batista and Undertaker, it was a great match.
Chiefs and Undertaker was a great match. Again, Shawn and Cena. I thought that on that night, Shawn made Cena the man.
Yeah.
I really do on that night. I think that Shawn was there for everything. It also just showed me how much of man John Cena was up. I think 4 days in a row, just doing every shoot, everything you could possibly imagine for that event.
He proved to you that weekend he was the guy.
Oh my God, he did.
Yeah.
And I know everybody go, oh, that's bullshit. Like all those shots of him driving the Mustang and everything coming through there, and the shot coming down the ramp at way too fast. That people swear is a stunt man was 100% John Cena.
Yeah.
John wanted to do it because John was like, "Hey man, if I crash and I'm not in the car, that's going to be the shits." That's why I want to pre-tape it, John.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He goes, but you can't pre-tape it. I got to be going at least 60 miles an hour when I come around this curve, come down here to break through all this shit. Can we just do it to then? No. I'm driving the car. Now, the fact that we let him do it speaks craziness on our part, but that was the kind of guy John was. That was the kind of guy John was. John wanted you to know. He wanted you to see those moments, see those things that were happening live. That there's oh my God, there's no way they could have pre-taped this.
Right.
Yeah, we pre-taped all the shit during the city several nights before, just because we had to because of the overhead shots and traffic. You had to shoot that shit at 3 o'clock in the morning. But the rest of the stuff, that was all live, man. That was all John. And he proved himself, man. He proved himself to be, you know what? No, man, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fight me. So Batista and Taker, they sat up and said, oh, yeah? You're going to have to follow this, kid. And they did. But Batista and Taker also were a big part of making John because they made him follow something great.
Yes. Well, Batista is going to continue this feud with The Undertaker into a last man standing match that ends in a draw before The Undertaker gets hurt. And the decision is made to put the title on Edge, who's going to be jumping from Raw and cashing in his Money in the Bank contract. Dave and The Undertaker go to another draw. And this time it's a cage match. And Batista now has a fresh feud to go into now. What'd you think? I mean, Batista's going to challenge Edge for 3 consecutive title matches that were unsuccessful. And the stipulation for the last one was a last chance match where if Batista lost, he wouldn't be able to challenge Edge for the title again. And it feels like everything was snake bit in this era. Edge gets hurt, so he's forced to vacate the title. It feels like you guys just can't fucking win for losing with this thing.
Man, you have runs sometimes. Sometimes those runs are of bad luck. And this is an example of a time where it was some bad luck. And then right when you felt the momentum shifting, going this way, a tidal wave from the opposite direction will come crashing down, and all of a sudden a fire breaks out. And that's the way it felt at the time, because as soon as you got to the point where you really felt good about something, and all right, we're going to get to the finish line. We're going to get to the finish line, and we're going to be able to start something new. We're going to be able to take that here. Something happens. So, yeah, it was unfortunate, and it sucks because it's drop a pebble, in a puddle of water and see what happens. It's that ripple effect. It affects everything.
Well, listen, let's talk about it. Undertaker, he's out hurt. Mark Henry, he's out hurt. Batista's looking for somebody to work with. Edge is out hurt.
Yeah, that's when you go in your back pocket.
And you reach for Great Khali. Yeah. That's right. Great Khali wins the Battle Royal and he becomes champ. He's so excited. He holds the world title upside down once he wins it. And who better to be feuding with Batista over the title than Great Khali? They get programmed together at SummerSlam. I know what you're thinking to yourself. Well, Batista didn't win it at last year's SummerSlam. He's got to here. Had a little Lex Luger-itis. Couldn't get it done at SummerSlam. Batista
what kind of name was the Great Khali? Big difference between the Great Khali and there is a great difference. Khali and Yoko.
Huge.
Yoko could work.
Well, Batista couldn't do it the year prior at with Booker T either. Like, eventually, if I'm Batista, I'm just going to say, you know what? Holler at me after SummerSlam. Because he winds up winning the title, but it's in a 3-way with Khali and Mysterio. That almost sounds like a setup to a bad bar joke. Great Khali, Batista, and Rey Mysterio walk into a bar.
Yeah, that's not how you tell it. Tell me how you did it.
Well, probably not like that. That sets up your favorite match, one of your favorite matches of all time. I know you personally came up with it. We're talking about the Punjabi prison match at No Mercy in October. It's maybe one of those things that look good on paper, but maybe not so good.
No, it didn't.
Well, it was terrible in execution. Batista's going to jump from the inner structure of the bamboo cage to the outer structure and then escape. He does this before Khali, so he wins. Let's pretend that someone is listening to this who grew up watching wrestling and then they shut it down in like 95. So they have no freaking idea what we're talking about, a Punjabi prison match.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Can I just clarify one thing?
Yep.
We had no idea what the fuck we were talking about. We were talking about what is a Punjabi prison match.
Who says those words first?
Okay, you have to understand the realism of the situation. The Great Khali, who is a wonderful man, nicest guy in the world. When people come up to him, when he's really tired and people come up to him and want a picture with him and want an autograph and everything, and you can tell, man, he's just ready to all he wants to do is be left alone and sleep. He tries to give the mean face, but he can't because he's just too nice. So he does it. And he probably utters things at them in Punjabi, and they don't know what they've been called or said. But the great Kali legitimately was a prison guard in India. Didn't know that, did you?
I did not.
So he was a prison guard. So we couldn't call him the big boss Lee because that would have made it accurate. But he became the big, giant Kali. But he really was. He really and truly was a prison guard, man, in India for many, many years. It was like the biggest, baddest. He was the guy that if you fucked up, you had to go and meet with Dalip.
Once you guys, I mean, if you had to guess, I know you don't
So,
know off the top of your head, but if you had to guess, how much do you think the Punjabi prison cage cost to make?
two,
Huh?
two,
$200,000?
no, too much. Whatever the fuck it cost, it was too much.
I think you guys used it
Um,
3 times. Undertaker and Big Show in '06, Batista and Great Khali at No Mercy in '07, and then before you
and
went
you
back,
can't see through the goddamn thing.
that's the real issue. Now, when I take a look at this, I wonder they did that for the toys. Like that's got to be the only upside that some kid would see it and he wants a Punjabi prison set.
Who would want a Punjabi prison?
8-year-old Dave Silva's little kid who we call brother.
No, well,
He may have wanted one.
tough shit.
Yeah, fuck
Something
Dave
else he
Silva's
won't get.
kids. Oh wow. Okay.
But it was like, okay, what is a Punjabi prison? And trying to think, and asking Kali, and you got uh, Dave Kapoor, who was his manager, great guy. The hell do we call him? Uh, doesn't matter, but he's a wonderful human being. Um, and then he's translating, and so they used bamboo, bamboo instead of like steel bars. There's a lot of bamboo, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, a lot of bamboo in India." I have no idea. I have no clue.
Let me
I
throw
did
that in my
no
Google
research.
machine. Is
I
there
didn't.
a
I
lot
didn't
of
want to know,
bamboo?
and it was like, okay,
It's
let's.
abundant, yeah.
It is abundant. Okay, well maybe that's why they use it. And so you wanted to make something different than the Hell in a Cell. You
Right.
wanted to make something different than the Elimination Chamber. You wanted to make something different than Big Blue. You wanted to make something different than the regular cage match. Well, enter the Punjabi prison.
There you go.
So now that you get kind of this, okay, well, now in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, well, we just have a Punjabi structure, prison structure that's made of bamboo. The structure itself is made of bamboo. We can crisscross it. We can do different shit with it. What makes it different? I don't know. You got to eat like the hottest curry in the world to get through the door. Well, I don't know. And then, like, I think had to be jokingly. I think, Vince was like, well, what if they made it from one to another and then the idea is to escape? Which, going back to cage matches in general, I hate cage matches where they have to escape. It's illogical. That's what we did. We did a Punjabi prison match. Now, no one had seen it because I don't think it got finished until 2 or 3 days before the event.
This is in '06 now.
I don't.
Yeah.
So it gets done. They put it up and try and figure out what the fuck are we going to do with this? And I'm actually trying to figure out a way to set it on fire in the back and just have a match. Like, oh my God, the Punjabi prison has been set on fire. What are we going to do now? How about a match? Oh, that's a great idea. No, yeah, it was terrible. that was, that was like Giant Gonzalez was my gift to Taker. Uh, Greg Khali was my gift to Dave Batista.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Oh man, the Punjabi prison, Jesus Christ. That will go down next to the dog kennel from Hell match.
Yep.
That will go down as the number one worst gimmick in the face of anything. The other one was that silly ass King of the Mountain horse shit that no one on the face of the earth has ever been able to explain to me.
you don't like Jeff Jarrett's creation?
I think it's the stupidest, silliest thing I've ever heard in my life.
What do you think of those Prince of Darkness matches, the blindfold matches? I didn't like those.
I love blindfold matches.
Why?
They're great. You can't see your opponent, and then you got the fans tell you, and if you're the baby face, they cheer, yeah, that's him, yeah. That's him. But if it's the heel pointing and they're in the right direction, and they don't tell him. So if you're babyface, you have the advantage.
Do you think Hunter was a big fan of the hog pen match?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. He did it.
Who would have thought, by the way? I mean, you want to talk about some foreshadowing and a precursor, the custody of Dominic ladder match. Who knew back then? You know what I mean? Oh, fuck off. You did not.
Why don't you ask any of them? Any of them that are involved, that are alive, who came up with that shit?
Oh, I know that, but I'm saying, who would have thought Dominic would be doing what he's doing? I know it. Oh, fuck. Hey, little buddy, you're going to be.
Yes.
With a little girl down in
Yes.
Australia. Come on now.
Yes. And you know when? When we were sitting in the park, man, in San Diego, and Eddie said, hey, Dominic, hey, man, you want some candy? And Dominic's reaction and the way that Dominic sold it was like, this kid's a natural. He's beautiful. He loved me. The fact that we were in Washington, D.C., and we were out in the garage doing a car wash, and I'm wearing a light blue shirt, and it is 109 degrees in the thing, and I've sweat through my suit. I don't know how many times, and Dominic is laughing his ass off. So I knew then. I knew right then, man. The kid was a heel. The kid's a natural heel. He is brilliant.
Well, so was The Undertaker. He's going to finally return to reignite the feud with him and Batista. And at Cyber Sunday in 2007, on October 28th, the fans would vote for Stone Cold Steve Austin to be the special guest referee when Batista would beat The Undertaker in about 17 and a half minutes. And the next month at Survivor Series, the two guys hook it up in a Hell in a Cell match. During the match, Edge would return with a concerto, allowing Batista to pick up the win. And that sets up a triple threat match at Armageddon in December. And that results in Edge reclaiming the title he had to forfeit months earlier. So this represents another transition in Batista's career, I suppose. He'd been to the top of the mountain multiple times by early '08. Did you have any indication that he was interested in acting or other pursuits? When did you first learn that, hey man, maybe he has some other goals?
Take a look at him.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? You just take a look at it. He's out of central casting. Has he's got that just debonair look, and he looks like a movie star. Everywhere he went, everybody would stare, stop and stare. So, um, I don't know that it was Dave's pursuit. I think Dave is one of these people that goes through life and lives it. We talked about that just last week. He lives it. He enjoys it. He takes every opportunity and takes each opportunity unto itself and makes the most that he possibly can. And I don't think that he got into the business because I want to be a movie star. I think that he got into the business because it looked like, hey man, let's do this. Experienced it, and then other opportunities came up. So let me try these.
Right.
But I don't think he wanted to be the mega star that he turned out to be.
At the Rumble, Batista's going to come in at number 8. He's going to last nearly 38 minutes. He eliminates Tommy Dreamer, Umaga, Mr. Kennedy, and he even helps eliminate Kane with Triple H. But Triple H ends up being the guy to eliminate Batista. Batista would then compete the following month at No Way Out in the Elimination Chamber. It's a SmackDown pay-per-view. And he eliminates Big Daddy V, but he himself is eliminated by The Undertaker. I don't know. It feels a little bit like Batista's sort of treading water at this point. Do you think he was ever the number one top guy on SmackDown, or was that always going to be The Undertaker in your mind?
No, I think that he was one of the top guys, who's number one. I think that's subjective, but I think that he was definitely one of the top guys, one of the top draws. And when you associated top talent with SmackDown, Dave was in that conversation every time.
With the benefit of hindsight, once upon a time, you guys were sort of back and forth on, will it be Batista? Will it be John Cena? And you thought it was going to be Batista. We know it wound up being John Cena. I guess my question is, do you think part of that may have been because of the perceived lack of maturity, things like the fight, and maybe the injury? Did Vince wonder, is he reliable enough to be the top guy? Were there any reservations about really going with him as the tippy top guy?
I don't know. Reservation may be the wrong word, but if you're looking at, where do I want to plant my flag?
Right.
Who's that guy that is going to stand there and be the guy in every situation, that is not going to have, somebody said the other night, the skeletons in the closet or what have you. John was that guy. John was youth. John was the guy that everybody was asking for a Make-A-Wish. John was the first guy in the building and the last guy to leave. Did everything else. It's just sometimes it's pick 'em. All right. Well, we're picking John. And no matter what you want to say, what you want to do, until you're there, I should have done this, should have done that. Pick them. You got one. Go. And it's not as easy as it sounds.
That's right. Well, this is a brand split as a reminder. And we got Shawn Michaels, who's retired Ric Flair at that WrestleMania. And now it's going to turn into Batista coming for revenge for his friend Rick being retired. Shawn's a Raw guy, and that's where Batista has to go to engage with him. And their match at Backlash really ends up setting the table for Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho's story in 2008, because Jericho is the special guest referee. Shawn's going to fake a knee injury to sucker Batista in and hit him with a super kick for the victory. I always thought Batista had good matches with Shawn, Did it feel like they had more chemistry than some of other Batista's, some other opponents that Batista had?
Uh, I think you could ask it the other way. Who didn't Sean have good chemistry with?
There you go.
Uh, come on. Sean was great. He could do it all. So I think the element there is Shawn Michaels.
When you have a guy like a Batista who, felt like he should have been in the main event at a WrestleMania 23 for the world title with The Undertaker, and he winds up working respectfully with Umaga at 24. And it's just like a battle for brand supremacy match, but there's no world title. It's a SmackDown versus a Raw guy. It's on in the middle of the show. Is he frustrated with his payoffs or his positioning on the card? Because not too long before, this was a guy who was doing interviews talking about being a top guy and blah, blah, blah. And that has to be getting into his head a little bit. No?
Yeah, I got to argue with you, man. Umaga was on the way up. Umaga's being groomed to be the biggest, baddest, nastiest heel that we were going to have at the time. And to be in the ring with Batista is huge. And same for Dave, to be the one that they want to use to help build Umaga, to make Umaga a monster. Yeah, I completely disagree with that. I think that was a great spot for both of them, and I think that people looked at it that way. They looked at it as here's Dave Batista, here's my guy, here's this bastard, now here's this Umaga, this savage, this monster that is unstoppable, and trying to seriousness up his game. I'll make up some damn Michael Hayes words. They try to make his important seriousness up.
Level him up. I understand. I wonder from his perspective, if he's thinking, man, I thought me and Taker were going to be the main event last year. Oh, Taker is the main event last year. And it's with the guy that I lost 3 times in a row to, Edge. I would think, being a competitive spirit, like it sounds like Batista is based on some of the interviews and stuff, he'd have felt a certain type of way about that. But again, he works with Sean on the other side. So how bad can it be? He gets a rematch with Sean at the Extreme Rules show, and it's a stretcher match where Batista would gain the win. And now it's tied up at 1 apiece. And coming off that and back on SmackDown, Batista's going to team up with Funaki, Nunzio, and Colin Delaney, friend of the show, to take on Edge, Chavo, and the Edge Heads. And if Batista's team wins, he gets a shot at Edge at Night of Champions. And since he's an animal, regardless of the fact that he's teaming with Funaki, Nunzio, and Colin Delaney, they win and he gets the match. But the general manager, Vicky Guerrero, of course, doesn't want Batista to take on her man Edge. So the only way he'll get that shot is if he beats Khali in a singles match, which he does. So it looks like we're on a collision course, and Batista is going to get a shot at Edge's world title, but then he gets drafted to Raw. What the fuck is going on?
I got drafted. It was a draft. Anything can happen.
Okay.
Striker, right?
Yep. Dude, you gotta, listen, I think a lot of those guys, I know you're a big Funaki guy. He used to hook you up with your favorite eye drops. Colin Delaney, friend of the show, been to some of our live shows. We both think the world of that shooter Nunzio, big fan of his work in ECW. What are we doing? Did Batista owe somebody money? Did he lose a bet?
He won the fucking match.
I'm just saying, I can't imagine okay, Roman, here's what we're going to do tonight on SmackDown. Have you met Colin Delaney? All right. Him and Funaki. Let's go around. What?
He won the match.
He did. And then he gets drafted. Vince announces that Edge still has to defend the title against Batista at Night of Champions. And of course, as you might imagine, there's a ton of interference. Chavo, as a referee, is going to help Edge retain the title. And the next night on Raw, Batista would beat up on Edge on Raw, and that leads to CM Punk cashing in his Money in the Bank contract to cost Edge the title. So, yeah. Batista doesn't get the strap. CM Punk does. Batista gets programmed with Punk coming off a number one contenders 4-way that Batista wins over Kane, JBL, and John Cena. Kane is going to attack Batista and Punk at Great American Bash, making it a double DQ. And the next night on Raw, JBL is running away from John Cena. During the rematch between Batista and Punk, Cena goes to hit JBL and Bradshaw ducks. He hits Cena, and it's time for one of the bigger programs, Cena and Batista. This feels like it's been a long time coming. These guys were seemingly on a collision course for a long time. Now they've both been world champ. They've both been to the top of the mountain. How pumped were you to see Cena and Batista finally programmed together?
Well, I thought I always joking used to go prototype versus Batista.
He was the Deacon.
Leviathan.
Oh yeah, Leviathan. Yeah. And
I always say, we got prototype and Leviathan. And that was my satisfaction. No, man, I think that it was something that was logical that the audience wanted to see. That was your two big studs. That was your two big studs that hadn't really had that mashup yet. So it was their opportunity to do it.
I mean, it feels like it's like 6 years in the making by the time they make it happen at SummerSlam 2008. As you probably imagine, at SummerSlam, Batista ain't going to win. But he does, and he wins clean in the middle, and the fans were with it. Meltzer would say the feeling is, since they want Batista to be at Cena's level, it's the message that if people don't see it that way, so therefore Batista is the one that should go over. Plus the feeling is Cena's fan base of kids will not see Cena as any weaker for losing. And they made sure to give him a strong win, beating the tag champs by himself by submission in the middle of Raw the next night. Cena wasn't hurt in the slightest by losing. Really, no top guy today gets hurt by losing because people don't take winning and losing as part of the entertainment show. It was pushed that Batista was better for 3 seconds on that night and clearly was meant as the first of what will become a series of matches. At some point, one of them should probably go heel because of Cena's merch sales. Batista would make more sense, even though Batista is probably top 3 or 4 as far as popularity among kids. The crowd on this show was clearly for Batista, with Cena booed a lot. So this is the era where we started to see kids cheering for Cena, adults booing Cena. But I find it interesting, and I know I'm asking you to recall something from 2008. It's a long time ago. But we know Cena was number 1 in merch. Does that sound about right, that Batista would probably be top 3 or 4?
Probably.
Taker's got to be
that
up
during
there.
DX time?
Yeah, that sounds right.
It was probably those 4, which would be, Cena, DX, Taker, and Batista, trading off on 3 and 4.
Yeah, I guess they came back in 06.
Yeah, DX sold it. DX had the beauty of being able to sell those glow sticks. They're easy to carry.
Yep.
They're not expensive, and you can sell a ton of them. They take up very little space.
High profit margin.
Yes.
Hey, I'm telling you something I probably should have told you off air, but I stumbled across some really cool stuff. And when I say really cool stuff, I mean like a bunch of old internal reports and stuff, even from like WrestleMania 3. I'll forward you some of it. So you could see like how many Hulkamania shirts were sold at WrestleMania 3 and how many programs were sold at WrestleMania 3. I thought that stuff was fascinating, of what moved, what didn't move, who sold what. Really, really cool stuff. We're going to have some exclusive stuff coming up for you as we get closer to WrestleMania season here on the YouTube. We're not going to put it on the main RSS. So be sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn the notifications bell on for somethingtowrestle.com over on YouTube, because I can't wait to show Bruce some of this stuff. Cena's hurt coming out of this match with Batista. Any memories of that injury? I mean, I know that Cena was the ultimate rub some dirt on it. See you tomorrow. Uh,
I'm trying to remember. Was this the throat? Was this the neck?
I don't think so. But what do you remember of a neck injury? Do you remember him hurting himself with the neck with Batista?
I do remember him hurting his neck one time and getting on the plane with us, go to Pittsburgh to have the surgery the next day so that he could be back in 3 weeks' time to work.
Crazy
It's
man.
crazy.
Well, he set up a scramble match at Unforgiven. 5 men will enter, and the last guy would leave as champion. It's JBL, Batista, Kane, Mysterio, and CM Punk. Punk gets attacked before the match by Randy Orton backstage and Legacy, and he's going to get taken out. Chris Jericho would replace him. So he was the champ, but he's taken out. So that means we're going to crown a new champion here. Batista would spear Kane and give a spine buster to Kane at 16:39. And at this point, this is according to Meltzer's write-up, they said there was less than a minute left. Mysterio tried a Hurricane Rana spot on Batista, who caught him in midair and powerbombed him. And as Batista's back was turned, Jericho, who'd been out of the ring selling most of the way, jumped into the ring onto Kane and got a 3 count at 17:08, while Batista went to pin Mysterio, but time ran out at 17:15. Pretty cool little finish here where Batista does all the damage, but that damn Jericho steals the victory. Nice little storytelling here, no?
Bastard. That's bullshit.
Cena's going to be out for a little bit with an injury. So it's going to be Batista and Jericho working together. He's going to become he being Batista, becomes the number 1 contender for the world title at No Mercy by beating JBL. And this is around the time when you take a little hiatus from
I got fired.
WWE. Batista would later become world champion over Jericho with Steve Austin as the referee at Cyber Sunday. And it leads to a now infamous cage match for the world title. Allegedly, Batista was the last guy to purposefully cut himself in a match for the WWE, and Vince fined him, the referee Mike Chioda, Dean Malenko, who was the agent, and of course Chris Jericho. But Batista allegedly pays all of the fines, and as the story goes, Batista's fine alone was $100,000. But I guess he and Chris decided that this match needed blood. They felt like it would enhance the story. Even if the boss didn't want it, we're doing it anyway. Cost my man $100,000 for that. Is that the biggest fine you remember hearing about in wrestling? Besides when Austin walked out and came back?
I don't know. It's a big one, though.
It's got to be the biggest besides that, I think.
It's a big one. I mean, I really couldn't.
What was your relationship when you were unceremoniously shown the door? What was your relationship with Batista?
I had a good relationship with Dave. Always had a good relationship with Dave. You know, when Dave first walked in the door, after Alpha had called me, I was his first point of contact. Of course, JR hired him and speared his rocket to the top. But, I always had a great relationship with Dave. I never had an issue with him. I take it back. I had one issue with Dave, which I thought he handled beautifully, and had to get on him one time, and that was it.
Yeah, you're not going to tell us what it was?
Well, I'll tell you what it was. Yeah, no, it was an autograph signing, and Dave was in a particularly bad mood, and Dave was really rude to some kids and some parents, and that's one of those why I say, look, you never know who your audience is.
That's right.
And this particular group of people who were very reluctant to tell me about it, did tell me about it. And it was a young man who had just lost his father. His father had just passed at a very young age. It was, God, how old? Can't have been 7, 8 years old. And so this was a friend of his, and Dave was very rude to everybody, and it was backed up by other people, by personnel, WWE personnel, and other people that witnessed it. And the fact that it happened to that kid whose hero in life at that point, he had lost his father like 2 months before,
Mm.
and the what he had to hold on to was Dave Batista and John Cena, but much more so Dave. And he worshiped the ground that Dave walked on. And so the mom told me the story, and I was like, "When did the word?" And it was at a third party
I see.
uh,
Autograph signing.
autograph signing and everything. So like before, again, because I've never heard anything like this with Dave. And I went. I went to the market rep. I went to the sponsor of the autograph signing. I said, "Yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. It was just he was,
In a bad mood, had a bad
in a
day.
mood all day. He was in a mood all day, and people were like, ugh, nobody wouldn't go around him." So we we got to TV, and I told Dave, and coincidentally, we were going to be in Houston in like a month after that, and I said, "Man," I said, "we're going to make it right." And he says, "Oh, trust me, I'll make it right." And that was all, that was pretty much all that was said. I told him, I said, "Dave, you never know."
Right.
But when someone has come out, to see you, to touch you, to be in your airspace,
To stand in line to do that.
stand in line to do that, and you put them off like it's nothing. It's just JP Shellnut. Uh, it man, it cuts to the bone,
Yeah, I get that.
and he got it, and he counted down to Houston. He made sure that they're going to be there, right? You're going to bring them back. Said, "Yep, get it all taken care of," and brought them back, and it was the mom,
The
the
kid.
kid, in his he had three brothers, and Kane, and my wife. And David known my wife forever and treated her like gold. And he knew. He's like, "Okay, there they are." And Dave went right to him, was, down on his knees, hugging everybody, talking to everybody, and stood up, apologized to the mother, took pictures, autographs, and then he had the merch guy make merch packets for everybody.
So everybody got a swag bag.
Everybody got a swag bag, but Dave didn't leave until, it was time to go. And he was great about it. But the thing about it was like I told him, "Yes, I'll take care of it." It was in his mind enough that for the 2 weeks, hey, they're coming, right? They're still coming to Houston. You got them all set up, you know. So that said that meant something to him.
That's
He
right.
learned a lesson that day, and he couldn't have been more cordial. And he was absolutely fantastic with them. And And then John came up and goes, "How do I follow that?" But no, John, same thing. John classy and just was John. But it was those kids will never forget that day.
Right.
They were never going to forget the first one,
Right.
but that one erased it. And that was you know, man, to me, Dave and I always been good, man. I'm a huge fan and wish him God nothing but success because he's one of those guys that he looks at his art form now and Hollywood as I got to learn this, I got to know it, I got to love it, I got to want it, and is doing it for his reasons on his terms. So congratulations, and those are the kind of guys that you're happy for. You're happy to see them have success.
What do you think his legacy will be in wrestling? Will it be Evolution and the Triple H feud at WrestleMania?
I think it's just going to be him. I think it's just going to be Batista. I think that he was such a strong presence that it's going to be him. It's just going to be him and who he is and what he became. It's that simple.
Well said. I'm a big fan of Batista. I think a lot of him and what he does sort of off the field, and can't wait to see what he does next. We got a bunch of questions about Batista. Let's hit a few here. On this day in WWE, says, we all know what a legendary career Batista went on to have, but after his debut, he's off for a lengthy time due to injury in 2003. Were there ever any thoughts of replacing him in Evolution during this time? That's a good question.
It is a good question, but it was also a good story to have him injured and be a part of Evolution. If you would have replaced him, sure, we could have replaced him and done a story on the other side, but the injury kind of helped with that story.
I like it. Here's another one. This is from Charlie Thrower. Mr. Pritchard, what would it sound like when Jim Cornette would give the office an update about Leviathan?
God damn. Motherfucker's got goddamn orange eyes.
He's got what?
Orange eyes.
Oh,
orange eyes.
I'm-
You ever see the
I'm colorblind, Bruce. You're showing off. I don't know what orange is.
you ever see the T. Khan come out of the lake video?
You mean Purple Haze, Mark Lewin?
No,
I don't know about T.J. Khan coming out of the lake.
Look up T.J. Khan
Coming out of the lake. I'm looking it up.
coming out of the lake. You're looking at it now. Okay, look it up. Check that out. That's pretty much all I could ever see whenever I could see Batista coming out of the water. And then there was Purple Haze, and that was Mark Lewin. That was with Kevin Sullivan, and at least Marky came out of the ocean. But check it out.
I told Shivani once that T.J. Khan was actually Tony Khan's uncle. Any truth to that?
Yes, there is.
Okay. I just wanted
That's where all the money comes from.
I just wanted you to co-sign because that's
that's where all the money comes from.
well established.
Yeah.
Instagram or wrestling.
I thought everybody knew that.
I mean, we live to enlighten, as Eric says. Instagram or wrestling historian says, were there plans for a Brock Lesnar Batista match? I'm shocked and disappointed that we didn't get that money match. And if it did happen, who would you have go over? Thanks in advance. Man, I can't believe that never happened, but that's a great idea. What do you think of that?
Timing, kids. Timing. It's all about timing. Wrong place, wrong time. And I think that would have been, that could have been one of those that you built up for years before you finally do it.
It's just hard for me to imagine it never happened.
I know.
I guess they had,
and they were in that same kind of era too.
They did have one match together, and it was a house show in Broome County Arena in Binghamton, New York, February 2nd, 2003. But
holy cow. Maybe that's
TV.
why it never happened.
We saw it and said never again.
Okay.
Anthony wants to know, given everything we know about Batista, do you think he would have been world champ in the 90s had he been a part of the Attitude Era or would it be a way different working style? That's an interesting question. Could you have seen Batista working a generation before?
I do. Yeah, I could see Batista being a big monster and big nasty heel during that time. Believe it or not, I think Batista probably would have been better. As we were talking about Mark Lewin earlier, Batista being a part of that whole Dungeon of Doom shit with the Wizard would have been awesome.
Oh, come on. I was thinking you were going to make him like a dentist or a
No, I'm
plumber.
serious.
Leviathan, you would have liked to have seen him in the Dungeon of Doom.
Is that what they were? Dungeon of Doom, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. With the Yeti and
Yeah. And the shark
yeah. Oh fuck
and
yeah.
the Zodiac.
No, here's what I mean.
No.
Here's what I mean by that. He would have been the killer.
Right. I could see that.
So yeah. No, everything would have centered around him. To me, he would have been the modern day Mark Lewin.
I mean, imagine him a few years prior to that. If you could say late 80s WWF, perfect opponent for Hulk Hogan.
Oh, holy shit. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Linton Baum says, with the hindsight of seeing how great Batista has been with the media and with the Marvel brand, do you think the WWE missed an opportunity to keep him as the top babyface for the rest of his career like they did with Cena after his initial heel run? That's an interesting question. I mean, I know it's hard to have a huge sympathetic babyface, but we did it with guys like the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. What about Batista as a perennial babyface? Could that have worked?
I think Dave had an air of heel about him.
Yes, I agree.
Just in general. So I think that that might have been a little difficult for him to pull off.
Smokes a lot has a question. Does Bruce think the Deacon Batista character would have worked better if he was projecting more of a chicken shit heel like Brother Love? That Devon gimmick sucked. That's all that was to me as a fan.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, the Devon gimmick, I think, could have been a lot of fun and could have been really good. I really do. To this day, I do. With Brother Love, it would have been different, and I think that he could have been an Undertaker type character for Brother Love.
Let's do one for Ryan Winters. Bruce, when smoking, did you ever need a light and borrow one from someone who worked at a coffee shop? If so, how big was the barista's bick? Ryan Winters, my goodness. What a great, he knew you weren't going to answer the real question. So it's just excellent that he wanted to know how big
Things like that.
the barista's bick was. Okay.
Yeah. And he flicked it. Yeah.
Good old Irish boy says, given the amount of time when Batista first signed with the WWE and now, inquiring minds want to know, how big is Batista's belly button tattoo? He does have some interesting tattoos. I'll give him that.
He does. Can't say I've ever really looked at his.
Thank the Lord for that. The Wrestling Savant wants to know, how big is Batista's acting career going to possibly get?
Sky's the limit, man. I think that Batista has the ability as a big guy to be very sensitive. And that range of going from monster to sensitive is hard. It's hard to find, man. I think that Batista's a damn good actor. And I've enjoyed his stuff. I think he's an excellent actor.
I wanted to get your take on some news that we just saw. I don't even know that you saw this. Did you see Hulk Hogan was on TMZ again?
Sure, I want to know.
Well, check this out. A couple of days ago.
Oh, he saved the kid with the
car wreck.
The pen. Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
So if you're out of the loop, Hulk Hogan has been in the news a few times recently. Once for some not so great stuff, once because he and his wife were recently baptized, and now just a couple of days ago, as we're recording this, there was a young person who had flipped their car, and the Hulkster, or I guess he was Hollywood Hogan because he had his NWO shirt on, is there to make the rescue. Brother, what a story. I mean, can you imagine like being knocked for a loop and you come to and and there's the Hulkster?
I know this sounds weird, talking about all that shit. Is the strangest thing to me is I was reading that, and at first forgot was that they disabled the airbag first, which I would in a million years never even think of that.
Right.
But yet Hulk and this guy were able, and he had a pen, and they were able to go in and disable the airbag so that when they got her out and they got everything off, that the airbag didn't deploy and do some real damage to her, quite possibly. So to me, that was fascinating stories. Hats off to the Hulkster, and he really is a good guy, folks.
Did you see Hurricane's tweet about this? Our friend about Hulk Hogan's crash rescue?
No.
So he quote tweeted the TMZ tweet, and he said, and I love Hurricane, when your car is crashing down and you're trapped inside. She's okay, folks. She was unscathed. She's just fine.
You're horrible.
I didn't send it.
Hurricane. People give me shit and say I'm the heel.
You are.
I never would have gone.
I didn't. Hurricane did. Don't blame me.
Yeah, but you did. I wouldn't have. I don't repeat half the things Hurricane says to me.
If you look through our DMs back and forth, there's a whole lot of stuff in there. We send each other the most inappropriate memes of all time. It's awesome.
You do. I don't.
He sends them to me and I reply.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's y'all's little.
We probably speak 18 words in real life a year. It's just meme central. Me and the Blue Mini and Hurricane. Lots of memes. Next week is going to be memeable. We'll be talking about Royal Rumble 2008. It'll feature John Cena's surprise return at number 30 in MSG. Plus Randy Orton will defend the WWE title against Jeff Hardy. Edge will defend the world title against Rey Mysterio. JBL and Chris Jericho will square off, and Ric Flair has his first career-threatening match on pay-per-view, this time against MVP. That is our topic next week on the show. Trying to get you amped up and ready for the Royal Rumble. Bruce, are you ready for the Rumble? I know the shoulder's not ready.
I'm ready to rumble. Oh, you can't say that without I'm ready to rumble with this Rumble.
Yeah, I do think, yeah.
You got to add shit to it.
We probably need to even bleep that in post.
Okay, yeah.
If your business targets men 25 to 54 years old, man, there's no better place to advertise than right here with us on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. You hear some of the same ads over and over and over. Why is that? Well, because it really works. And with our super targeted audience, there's very little waste. So go to advertisewithbruce.com right now to find out more about advertising here on the program. And if you've got a question about Royal Rumble 2008, well, it's easy to ask it. Just do it on social media. It's at Pritchard Show on Twitter and IG, Something to Wrestle over on Facebook. And don't forget, we've got some fun stuff planned for our YouTube, including this treasure trove of stuff that just fell in my lap, Bruce. I can't believe
right in your lap.
Bruce, I didn't just get the merch reports from WrestleMania 3. I got like Hogan's itinerary for promoting stuff, some old tickets, some old payoffs, really cool stuff, inner office memos from Linda and Vince, like stuff I didn't think we'd ever see the light of day, but we got it and we can't wait to go through some of it. I'm going to show some of it to you over on our YouTube channel, somethingtowrestle.com. Hit the subscription button, turn on the notifications bell. You don't want to miss it. And you don't want to miss some of the new cool shirts we got over at somethingtowrestleshirts.com. Something for everybody over there. My favorite lately is Feeling Brucey. I know you're a big fan of It's Ding Dong Time. Whatever you're looking for, it's at somethingtowrestleshirts.com. And don't forget, when you buy a shirt at somethingtowrestleshirts.com, you get a shirt. So Bruce, this is a lot of fun. Greatly appreciate the time today.
That's pretty good. No, these days, on the whole internet, wide web, the world.
So inquiring minds want to know if you're not going to shred the pretend metal American Express card, what are you going to do with it?
I don't know what I'm going to do. May just stay right here.
I could suggest that maybe you cancel it. Wait a little.
I've done that.
Okay, then wait a little while.
Yeah.
And then you could autograph it, and it could be a framed collectible for a wrestling fan. Like there is a market for old canceled checks. And I recently saw where Tiger Woods had a American Express in a commercial, and Darren Ravel over on Twitter, he got that Tiger Woods commercial Amex, had it slabbed and rated and authenticated and the whole deal.
So like all of these that I get like every week.
Oh, is that a pay stub?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should hang on to all those.
Well, I did.
Yeah. I would hang on to all of those. Hey,
how much give me for it?
I'm not going to give you shit. I'd like to see it though. Like your old booking sheets we did before, man. That was awesome. We should show some of that over on somethingtowrestle.com. I got Vince Senior's 1963 diary, like the journal of all the shows and matches and shit. That's the year Bruno and Buddy Rogers did the deal. Yep. Pretty cool stuff. We're going to be showing you over at somethingtowrestle.com. Bruce, did we cover Batista thoroughly? Is there anything else to say about Batista that hasn't been said? As Howard Stern says, have we said it all?
I think it's been magnum emphasis. I use magnum because you like to say how.
I hate to do this, but you'll be mad at me if I don't mention it. But last week when we were recording, you made the third member of our team do something that I felt like,
you know what? I don't even mention his name.
Okay. But you said he was going to have to do something at the end of this show.
No, I never asked him to do anything ever again at all, period.
You got heat with him now?
No, I'll never ask him to do anything ever again, period.
Why? What happened?
Because I won't.
Sounds like you're half hot.
No, I'm not hot. Why would I be hot?
I don't know. Did he drink your last prom?
Kane did the other day, and then ran out to the store to get me another one.
Did Silva give away one of your beds?
Wait for that son of a bitch to get here.
You still don't have your new bed?
Not yet. So you got to remember, it's early in the week now. We're
recording.
Yeah. We're actually really recording early in the week.
Can you believe that? What listen, we're in overtime here. We're recording on a Tuesday, folks. Sometimes, last week we recorded on Friday, the day when the show's supposed to come out. But we got to do it early because I'm snowed in.
We tried to do it Sunday, didn't we?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What will you around tomorrow? You want to do another one tomorrow?
Nah, God. Next two.
How about Thursday?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are ugly for me. Actually, no, Friday. It's my last Friday.
All right. Oh, this is your last Friday before you got to get back on the road?
Yeah.
So when you work behind the scenes, do you still have to be cleared by a doctor before you can travel to towns? I don't know.
I have to be cleared before I can travel by air. Yes.
I got you.
Because but it's from my doctor because of the pressure on everything and how much work he did.
Do you think when you start showing up to TV, they're going to make you take a bump or kiss somebody's ass in your hometown or something like that? Cause that'd be awesome.
Okay. I'd have no problem doing that.
Hey, did you hear?
All you'd have to do is ask me, Conrad. I'd be happy to.
Oh, I know. You took a bump in Impact a couple years ago. Well, I guess it was longer than that now.
Yeah.
Did you hear they were chanting "fuck you, Bruce" at the Impact taping the other day?
Thank you.
Wasn't that awesome? I had some friends who were in the crowd who were texting me like, "Hey,
you don't have friends."
Yeah, okay. I had one. All right, I had friend text me.
Okay.
And I was like, "No, Bruce is gonna love that. He loves when people chant "fuck you, Bruce." Makes him feel like he's at home."
Oh well.
All right, boys and girls, we're done beating up on Bruce Pritchard. We'll be back next
feels like
week.
the beginning of most of my staff meetings.
Get your questions in for Royal Rumble 2008. We're going to try to keep the streak alive and have 3 or 4 shows on time. What the fuck is going on in 2024? We'll see you next week right here.
A new leaf.
A new leaf in 2024 on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard.
Rock on.